Hello, I'm Shekina Rose, Blue Ray Peace Emissary, Channel and Language of Light, Angelic Messenger of the 528 Miracle Frequencies. In 2008, I was downloaded that I was from the Blue Ray. And in those moments when I realized that information to be true, and I accepted that, I received a complete download of the information about the Blue Ray Empath starseeds on this planet. And I knew their characteristics. I knew who they were. I knew why they came to the planet. I knew their mission. And when I accepted and I heard that I was from the Blue Ray, it was a claircognizance moment that happened, where every cell in my body resonated to this information that I was from the Blue Ray. And prior to that, there was not any Blue Ray information. But I knew that this was my marker. This was my place upon the planet. This was my resonancy. This was my frequency. And these were the characteristics that made sense to me and why I was the way I was. A very sensitive empath starseed who knew life through a feeling, emotional language, and why the language that was taught here and the words was so limiting to me, and how that was not my first language, and how I understood things beyond the words and beyond the language. I understood and felt things through the words. And sometimes the words and the teachings that were being taught to me when I was little in school was not in alignment to who I truly was, and to the information and the knowledge and the empath resonance and the emotion and the feelings that were true to my being. And so the languaging and the way that the school was taught was not resonating, was not making sense. There was not a correlation. There wasn't an alignment. For I was understanding and learning things on multi-levels and dimensions and layers and levels, and sometimes knowing information that wasn't being taught or wasn't being actually true to me and who I was. So what I did, instead of being a more of an indigo and the way that they express themselves is when they do not hear truth, or when they come into toxins, or when they eat something or otherwise that is not in alignment with their system, they'll react immediately. A lot of times, immediately they will speak the truth of what it is right then and there when they get the information, and they will be able to articulate it very well. And or they will have hypersensitivity that will react in hyperactivity, and it's almost as if they are their body. This is how their body is transforming the energies, is by the hypersensitivity of movement in a very higher, more aggressive way, not being able to sit still, not an aggressive way perhaps, but sometimes because they have to move. They can't just sit still. It's like they can't be dulled down. And then they call it hyperactivity, but it's not exactly. This is not what, from the energetics and the frequency and the understanding that I know, how I would say it or how I would dull down an indigo child or a person. For the blue rays react more in a way that is, they will go in an inward direction. If something is not resonating a lot of times with them, they may not immediately start speaking the truth. They may need to, because they're feeling it throughout their body and their being, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily have a word or a particular language that is spoken, and the conforms and the construct of the languaging and the communication. So they may take their time and feeling in their own nature, and sometimes they don't even know yet the words, because they know and they're experiencing things, but we're experiencing it at a different level, layer, emotion, love, and it doesn't necessarily translate. And so a lot of times, in the way that the Blu-ray would react, a typical Blu-ray, a typical Blu-ray A, would be that they would go inward and they would have to spend time by themselves, because they are needing to be in their own frequency to discern and come into a harmonic resonancy balance. Another way that the Blu-rays react a little bit differently than the indigos are that instead of sometimes getting hyperactivity, although they can get a little hyper if they have stimulants. Stimulants are really not the best for a Blu-ray, or if they're around someone and they are kind of hyper, or if they are speaking very fast and very intensely, sometimes there'll be either one or two things that'll happen. A lot of times a Blu-ray will recede. They'll go inward. And a lot of times too, now, if they have toxins and things in their body, how they'll react is they'll get fatigued. They will have sometimes things like chronic fatigue syndrome. They will have things that are labeled, I don't necessarily like the label because it's all energy, and that's how I recognize things, is through energetics and frequency. But there are labels, there are connections here. They sometimes label this as Epstein-Barr virus, and they label it as other things as well. Spirit is just telling me some other things that I just want to be really kind of careful of what I speak when it comes to the labels of what they're labeling as diseases. Because a lot of these fibromyalgia, different things like that, a lot of these diseases come from toxins that have accumulated within the body from different and various sources, and also toxins and frequencies that have dulled down the systems for an ultra-sensitive empath, Starseed. And I always recommend, no matter what, if it is a ascension symptom or other, that you always go to your health care provider, practitioner. And also for myself, I use holistic medicine and natural therapies and medicine, and that has done well for me. And at different times I have and will go to a medical doctor, those kind of medical fields, because they have particular kinds of medicines that also can be used, that I use in alignment with the other natural medicines medicine. So at different times, you will need different things. So always tune in and always receive the care that you're needed, no matter what it's called or what the classification is. And in time, you will understand a little bit more of how to take care of your own body and being. So a lot of times, the blue ray will react in a way of extreme fatigue, and sometimes that is their mechanism of their body expressing to themselves, to you, the sensitivity, and that this situation is not in alignment, or that you need to leave. A lot of times we will be in a group energy, or we will be in situations that there will be a lot of energies, and it can get at certain times overwhelming. And so those are our clues, because our body is a huge barometer. I would say that our thoughts are not as the first barometer for a Blu-ray sensitive empath. For a Blu-ray sensitive empath, their language comes first through the physical sensories of their senses and what they're experiencing. Sometimes they won't even know what is happening, and they will have an immediate reaction through their body to something. And this is a wonderful expanded understanding and language and sensory ability to experience this human nature of beingness. It is truly a divine gift that you have, that the blue rays sensitive empaths are. This is a attribute that comes through the many realms and the planets, planetary systems that many of you that have come through, and the crystalline energies. And so it is important to know that this empathic resonancy is a true gift of divine source, and it is also a part, very much so, of your mission and the reason why you're here. For the blue rays are doing this, their mission and their purpose, through the sacred divine feminine principle. And the reason for that is that the sacred divine feminine has certain attributes and characteristics that are really needed and have been called forth through Mother Earth Gaia and through the souls of humanity and through the universe. And there was a great calling out to you, the Starseed, to please come here, because you have a sensitive, empathic quality and a knowingness and a connection that was greatly needed and could greatly serve the divine plan. For through your empathic, sensitive wisdom and connections, you would be able to restore and restructure these holy, sacred ley lines and empathic resonancy that works through the body and through the crystalline structure, and also through Mother Earth Gaia. She has a crystalline empathic resonancy grid, and it is a beautiful connection, and it is an alignment with a higher truth and a higher wisdom and a higher perfect balance of alignment, where the whole system works together in a beautiful synergetic collaboration. And this beautiful, empathic way throughout the earth. You are so connected to that. And that is why you are so connected and are drawn to Mother Earth and Gaia and to serve her as grid workers, and you are so connected to Mother Earth and nature, and why nature is so important to you, and why when you are in alignment and connected to nature in some way or form, whether it be in through the oceans, whether it be through the dolphins or through the whales or through the mountains and the air and the trees and those animals and those realms, that you are feel much more in your element and much more supported and much more on your path, because that is one of the ways that there is a restoration within the whole entire planet. And just by you being born wherever that you are on this planet, or living wherever that you are living upon this planet. And a lot of times what happens to Blu-rays is they are what we call the Blu-ray wanderers for a while. And the Blu-ray wanderers, well, they're looking for their home. And a lot of times they'll have like a Blu-ray wanderer quest or a cycle where their home, where they're from or where they're living, it doesn't resonate with them anymore. Like everything about it, the energetics, and they know that there is another place for them to go. So a lot of times they will move and they'll be drawn to a particular area, particular place upon the planet. Also, there's a time called the Blue-Ray Wonders, this is what I call it, where they won't have a home for a while, and they'll have to go to different places. Or the Blue-Ray Wanderers will be the Blue-Ray Wanderers grid workers, where they may have a place and a home, but for a period of time, they will have to go to certain particular places, certain coordinates that are, for them, vortexes and divine connections and these beautiful exchanges with the earth. And they will have to travel to those places. Now, this may take them a certain amount of time. For some, it will be a lesser time than others. And sometimes they will settle for a while and then they will start up again, and then they will have to take their journey, and then they will be able to settle down again. But this is very much a part of this Blu-ray and this Blu-ray Wanderer, because again, if you think about the characteristics about the Blu-ray, they're doing this through the sacred divine feminine, and they're doing this through the element of water, and they're doing it through a sacred divine feminine, which is nurturing, love, care, intuition, and all of those qualities from the mother, the divine mother, and those sacred qualities. And they're doing it through water. And think of water. Water is emotions and its flow. So Blu-rays need to be always within their own flow, in their own rhythm. It is really, really important to them. And sometimes there's a particular rhythm and there's a particular flow that will come forth and through them. And this flow, especially the Blu-ray Wanderers, when they are on their journey, it is not necessarily, they may need to go to these different places, and because there's particular coordinates within the celestial heavens, and a lot of times you are very connected to the rhythms and the cycles of the moon and how that affects you. And there are certain alignments within the celestial bodies that also affect you maybe a little bit more, because you are more in tune with those cycles. And because you are water, you are flow, and you work with the sacred divine feminine, and you work with Gaia, and you work with Mother Earth Gaia through the celestial star wisdom, and throughout you gain and and you awaken and you retain this information and this wisdom and this knowledge from the celestials, from the stars, star wisdom. That is also a part of you, and that awakens and is attuned inside of you through your cellular memory, through your body vehicle. A lot of times through these different cycles and these different events that happen celestial. And when you also go to these particular places that you are being drawn to. I myself live in Sedona, Arizona, and I was drawn to come and live here on this amazing place of the vortex. They're a beautiful place upon the planet of the Red Rock people. And it's also called the Crystal City of Light. And this is a very heightened place upon the planet where it is a very interdimensional place, and it's almost as if the veils are thinner and everything kind of comes through here energetically throughout the land and through the vortexes. And there is a very strong connection to a home frequency and to your star family, and there's a lot of heightened spiritual awakening and a powerful connections that happen here. And I was drawn here. Mother Earth Gaia called me to come and live at this Sedona, this heightened place of awareness. And since I've lived here, it has been pretty extraordinary, and everything has been heightened, and the crystals have manifested actually from this vortex and have given me gifts that are glorious beyond and that have manifested for the people of humanity, and for the particular ones, the starseeds and the light workers, for their purpose and for their mission at this time. And so the blue ray starseed empath works through the sacred divine feminine and is an empathic sensory being. That is their first language. And be exalted and be proud and know that you are so beloved, and know that you have a purpose and a mission, and know that we are collectively working together. And that is the other thing, I guess, the update is that we are more working together now. There is a stronger resonancy field within all of us, and we're working a lot with each other and a heightened awareness in the dream state and through the conscious grid line. So I just want you to know that you have a lot of support, Blu-ray. And if you would like some more information about the Blu-rays and their characteristics, you can go to shekinarose.com. And there is information about the Blu-rays, and there's information on, I do soul readings, and I do blue read connections, and I sing in the language of light and the divine music of the home frequency, and also the 528 miracle ancient Sophigio scale, and many other frequencies. And different frequencies will come in at particular times for your soul that is needed to open doorways, to transcend, to transform different things. And it is always a blessed sacred union when we come together. Also check out the Sedona crystals and the beautiful pendants, because they are a technology and they have been created and are here for us at this particular time. So namaste, blessings and anagaras. Anihikish kulere barashkanamayarek, pore krashniaka hoye chita, hoya mohish, walahida, rokirini shola rodost, nereyalo, yelalo kirish, haya. From the heart of the Mother Earth, Goddess Gaia, the blessings onto you.